morning. Just wanted to come on and quickly talk to you about two things this morning. So Wednesday, I kind of went against my own rules and I said yes to something impulsively. In fact, worse, I initiated something impulsively. Now, that might sound like a really small thing and you might think, oh, it's really boring if you don't do anything impulsively, of course, but you do have to be aware of the consequences. So yesterday I was gushing about warm, fuzzy feelings because I'd met up with an old friend and we'd had a lovely time and everything was, working out and coming to fruition. But what I didn't tell you was I squeezed in seeing that friend on the back end of a very busy work afternoon. I had work commitments dating back to several months ago that I had to honour, but in sort of how I work these days, I wouldn't say yes to it again, if that makes sense. So I already had a challenging afternoon. I didn't finish work until 7:15, 7:45 at night. Bearing in mind I'd already done a full morning of training and learning because Wednesday mornings are when I take part in my course. I'd already dealt with lunch for the kids, it's half day at school on a Wednesday, and the afternoon's work also involved 2 hours of driving on top of already finishing that time. So anyway, but because I was working miles away and because my good friend also lives miles away, I just had this spur of the moment, I could see if she's free to meet up after work. And she was, and it was all planned and it was lovely. And then we agreed to meet at this new place that was opening, which again was quite exciting because in France there's not huge amounts going on in rural France. And, that's what we did. So 7:30ish, I finished, 7:45, a message just saying, right, I'm on my way. 8 o'clock we met. First hurdle was the place was shutting, no food available, so I hadn't eaten and then I was unable to eat. So then plan B, go back to her house, it's not far away. She was due to go food shopping the next day, didn't have an awful lot in, we ended up snacking on crackers and things. Anyway, lovely time, but I didn't get home until gone midnight, roughly midnight. Then I had to empty the car because my daughter needed it. Then I was a bit a bit wired because I'd had a nice time and because I'd been driving, concentrating in the dark. So then I didn't get to sleep until, I don't even know, probably closer to 1 o'clock in the morning. And then my alarm was going off at 6. And then also the other thing I hadn't factored in, because again, this is new, before I agreed to this date, is that I now take my lupus medication via injection. And they're playing with the doses, and the dose had gone up this week, which has an impact. And all in all, it just wasn't a sensible idea to go out on Wednesday night until midnight, because then I really struggled yesterday. Was a bit of a spiral, as you probably saw. Had a high sugar breakfast. Just gonna have a pause in the shade. High sugar breakfast, which then kind of led to a later, not very good lunch. Then I had a bit of an afternoon snooze rather than just a rest, and I could feel a sore throat, and I was just as lovely as it was in my situation and my circumstances, which is busy mum, responsible for kids, responsible for the school run, responsible. My eldest daughter was out all day yesterday because she had an exam. I was responsible for the horses, the plants, everything in the heat as well. And it may sound like really small things, but When you add that to the fact I'd already been to my youngest daughter's choir concert until gone midnight on Monday, and then you add to that the Saturday prior to that I had been out to my friend's Eurovision party and we didn't go to bed until nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. When you're careful with the planning, the plans that were in place work. Sometimes it only needs one thing to tip it over the edge and you start finding yourself pushing through. So like yesterday was hard, woke up this morning and I was tired. It is Friday today, but I do have commitments and I have a new horse client arriving today. They've just told me they're coming in early afternoon, so I don't know whether that's going to affect my rest time that I normally have between like 1 and 2. Hopefully not. I certainly won't be able to sort of switch off and have a rest because I'll be on edge that they're going to send me a message and say we're arriving. So even I mess up because of course we want to be normal, we want to have fun, of course we want to see our friends. To me, logistically, the plan made sense. Mentally, it made sense because I went. So my storage on my phone got full and I couldn't finish my morning's ramblings while I was out walking. But what I was trying to say was that logistically this made complete sense, and impulsively it made sense, but in the long term, stacking up with the other things, it didn't really make that much sense. And luckily I don't have any busy weekend plans. Quite a busy day today, but I have survived. And the weekend is quiet. So, you know, these impulsive yeses do come at a consequence. It's not to say don't do it, it's just to say be prepared to suffer, for want of a better word, suffer those consequences. Bye for now.